small to life-saving. How? A handwritten card will be cherished. Coffee or treats, a thoughtful gesture. You can log on to daisyfoundation.org to nominate a nurse for exceptional care. To the nurses listening to Alpine Bank now, your commitment to helping others has our deepest respect and appreciation. We think of you as heroes. Alpine Bank, committed to Colorado and you.
Water is essential to life.
Humans are 60% water.
Water carved the Grand Canyon and it pummels boulders into sand.
But a little water leak in your roof can cause mold and deterioration of your home.
Let Denver Roof Pros stay on top of your roof with our preventative roof service plans to prolong your roof's life and protect your home and the people you love.
Check it out at DenverRoofPros.com.
No matter if it hails, rains, or snows, nobody knows your roof like the Denver Roof Pros. Hey!
In a city full of choices, your savings destination is Groove Toyota, the oldest family-owned Toyota dealership in the Denver metro. Over 200 pre-owned vehicles in stock, including MPG MVPs and Toyota certified with full warranties. Visit GrooveToyota.com. Don't wait. 50 vehicles priced under $15,000 won't last. Buy today in person or at GrooveToyota.com. Start here. Go anywhere.
Offer expires 6/1/26. Not all will qualify. Restrictions apply with approved credit. Call 720-961-4465 for complete details.
Hey, Stoke here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Summer is coming in hot. Don't wait. Beat the rush with an early bird cooling system tune-up and inspection for only $49 from Rocks Heating and Air. They'll inspect your system and keep you cool when everyone else is scrambling. Call ROX Rocks Heating and Air today and schedule your tune-up before the end of May. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair, ROX, Rocks, Heating and Air.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. Powered by Regen RX. It's The Drive with Zach By and Philip Lindsay. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
It is Denver Sports Tonight right here on the ever-powerful Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Anilo Piro, Dante Gomez hanging out with you here on this sunny Thursday evening. First time in a long time we have seen the sun, it feels like, in the Mile High City. Feel free to get involved in tonight's program, 303-713-1043. That, of course, is the RamosLaw.com text line. Plenty to dive into with the Avalanche's disappointing Game 1 loss to the Las Vegas Golden Knights last night. We'll mix in a little Denver Nuggets as I had an epiphany, a realization, watching the Western Conference Final over the last couple of days as well. And a little bit of this, a little bit of that here on the program today. Dante, what's up, brother?
What's up, AP? We got ourselves a series on our hands, and it feels like for the first time in these playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche. So not exactly the outcome we wanted, but I will say my excitement level for the series has grown after that one.
Yeah, there's a bit of tension. There's that feeling in your stomach, right, where you kind of start turning, and it felt like to a certain extent, not that it was a foregone conclusion, but I felt pretty good about the Avalanche last night. Because as I pointed out with Zach and Phil there at the end of the drive, and we double-checked it after the commercial break leading up to the start of our show, it was about a 7-day layoff for the Avalanche between Game 1 of the Minnesota series and Game 1 of this series against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So if we want to have the rest versus rust conversation, the folks out there that support Team Rust, you're up big time right now, but that was not necessarily the case Game 1 against Minnesota where they won 9-6.
See, I can't get on board with that argument. Do you
Why,
know what
they
day?
gave up 6 goals?
No. Do you know what day the Golden Knights finished their series?
I don't remember off the top.
The day after the Avalanche did. We're talking about 1 day
Was it
difference.
really?
We're talking about the Avalanche finished their series on Wednesday, the Knights finished theirs on Thursday.
I'm looking at it through the prism of the Avalanche. And I'm not going to sit here. Obviously, I got to break down Golden Knights hockey, right? But like when I'm talking about it from the scope of the Avalanche coming off of that many days of rest. Because to me, It looked like the Avalanche came out with their hair on fire for the first 10, 15 minutes or so, essentially call it the first period. Second period was a bit wonky, and then the third period was too little too late. And so I hear what you're saying about the Vegas Golden Knights, but now we have two examples here of a similar layoff for the Avalanche, one in which they've come out and scored 9 goals in a game one against the perceived toughest opponent they would face all postseason, at least in the Western Conference, in the Minnesota Wild. And now the inverse of that is with essentially another week off. Last night at home against the Vegas Golden Knights, a respectable opponent, the opposite happens.
Wait, so you're telling me that the Golden Knights have some magical way of dealing with time off better than the Colorado Avalanche do? That they got out-coached in game one because their players were ready to play and the Avalanche weren't ready to play?
What I'm saying is last night's loss to me, I guess you're kind of right to a certain extent, is last night's loss to me was more about the Avalanche not being ready to go or playing a full 3 periods. And then you're going to turn around and say, well, that's a credit to Vegas for being ready to go and playing the way that they did as well. But you come to expect, especially in a Western Conference final, or the second Western Conference final in quite a bit of time, since 2001 for the Colorado Avalanche, like you expect a different level of focus. And that's where I'm disappointed. I think Vegas played a very good game. I think Hart played his heart... no pun intended. Hart played his heart out in net last night for the Vegas Golden Knights. And look, Tortorella is a great coach, and he's clearly given that team some juice since he took over, kind of in Michael Malone-esque fashion to a certain extent, and has provided this team with a spark. And now the Vegas Golden Knights are 3 games away from a Stanley Cup final appearance. But to me, last night was more so about missed opportunities for the Avalanche. Again, I thought Brock Nelson had 4 or 5 different shots where, look, I'm not saying he's supposed to make all of those, but like you felt like one of those was going to go through the back of the net. And again, that's a credit to Hart, standing on his head, doing what good goalies do in clutch times and clutch moments. But it just felt like a combination of factors of some puck luck to a certain extent for Vegas, the goaltending from Vegas, and a lack of intensity that maybe we haven't seen from the Avalanche since Game 3 of their playoff run against Minnesota.
I actually think it's more than that. To me, it's not about missed opportunities. To me, it's about the Colorado Avalanche haven't played 60 minutes of good hockey since Game 2
so you're going to take
Minnesota
that
Wild.
Yeah.
Well, am I wrong in saying they haven't played 60 minutes of hockey?
Not, but
they lost Game 3 of that series.
Correct.
They went down 3-0 in Game 4. They went down 3-0 in Game 5, and then they went down 3-0 last night. So to me, it's nothing new, nothing to do with missed opportunities. It's that this team hasn't played 60 minutes of good hockey in a very long time, too long, when you're talking about trying to make a Stanley Cup championship run here.
Well, let me see where you're at then. How concerned are you?
I'm pretty concerned that I think they have it in there, obviously, and they showed that in the Minnesota Wild series, coming back from 3-0 twice in games 4 and 5 there. But this isn't the Minnesota Wild. The Vegas Knights are a different animal that they're facing here. And I get that they weren't the perceived greatest team in the West here. But if you look back to when they made the coaching change, when they made the goaltending change, they finished the regular season on a heater. They go out and win the first round of the playoffs 4-2. They go on and win the second round of the playoffs 4-2. They had to earn their way here. Just as much as the Avalanche earned their way to the Western Conference Final, the Golden Knights have done the exact same thing. And I get that they didn't have the regular season that the Colorado Avalanche had this year, but I don't care about who had the better regular season. I care about who's going to play 60 minutes of hockey the right way. And last night it was the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, no, I think it's right. I think you're right to a certain extent. And look, we'll talk about the Cale Makar stuff a little bit later on in the program, but here's the comparison that I've drawn to last night's game. And I said it earlier today on Shapiro and Piro with my guy Jake. You can check that out on the Denver Sports YouTube channel. Did the Oklahoma City Thunder's loss in Game 1 change your opinion about that series?
A little bit. Yeah, I thought the Thunder were going to win that series for sure. I still thought they were going to win the series, but after that loss, I was like, oh, this thing, we might be in for 6 or 7 game series here.
So do you still think the Thunder are going to win the series?
I do still think the Thunder are going to win that series.
So that's exactly how I feel about the Avalanche last night, where it was shocking, it was stunning, it was caught me off guard, fair to say, but last night's loss, at least in a micro, and obviously we'll see what happens in Game 2, last night's loss did not do anything for me to significantly change my opinion about the Avalanche in this series because, knock on wood, pretty optimistic that Cale Makar has a good chance to play tomorrow. I think that makes a huge difference. I think you're going to see the Avalanche play with vengeance and hate in the heart. Do we have the McKinnon cut on here by chance? I was standing in McKinnon's scrum. I don't think we have it. McKinnon did about a 53-second press conference last night. And I forget the exact word that he used. Oh, my goodness. But
said execution a lot.
I think it was execution, right? He took 2 questions, and then my guy, Arif Dean, who's asking the 3rd question, he gets maybe 4 or 5 words, and he's like, I just said it 5 times. Execution, right? And so McKinnon was in no laughing mood last night, as he should be, as he never would be. But I think you're going to see some ruthless aggression from the Avalanche tomorrow. I think you're going to see them play with fury. I think you're going to see them play with hate in their heart. I think you're going to see them get a bit of a wake-up call that maybe they needed. And look, I could sit here and say all day, you probably didn't need a wake-up call. It's a conference final. We've seen this team fall short in playoff after playoff after playoff since winning the Stanley Cup. But again, I don't think the Game 1 loss really changes my opinion of the Avalanche in this series. I had Avs in 5. It's Avs in 5 until it ain't. Who's to say they can't win 4 games in a row? But look, we knew it was going to be hard. Nathan McKinnon, I was sitting in the front row on Tuesday at the pre-series, media availability. And McKinnon's up there, and a lot of mutual respect for this team. McKinnon himself came out and said he expects a 6 or 7 game series. So a loss like this, I think the stunning part of the loss is that it's in Game 1. If the Avalanche had won Game 1, then you drop Game 2, I think the vibe's a bit different. The sense of urgency and the frustration and maybe the anxiety associated with the Avalanche at this current time is because it's Game 1. You've seen this Avalanche team clean up on their home ice this playoffs. That was their first loss at Ball Arena of this postseason. Vegas, good team. Tortorella, great coach. Avalanche, I'm expecting a big punch back in Game 2.
I am too, but I just hate that this team needed the wake-up call. Did you not get the wake-up call from last series when you were losing in Game 4 and when you were losing in Game 5? Why do they need a little kick in the butt to play their best version of hockey? So to me, that disappoints me. And then even beyond that, I get that they lost the game last series. They did, Game 3. However, this is the first time when they have not been at the advantage in a series. First series, obviously 4-0. They're leading the entire way. Second series, they go up 2-0. They lose Game 3 there, but they're still up 2-1. That's the closest they've been to being at a disadvantage, is being up in the series 2-1. And now for the first time, we're talking about being down in the series 0-1. So
yeah,
it makes me, I would say, more nervous going forward. I had Avs in 6. I'm going to stick with Avs in 6 for now, but I just don't like that this all of a sudden becomes a must-win game on Friday.
Oh, and it is a must-win game. And I know, in a technical sense, it's not, because you can still come back with 4 or 5 and win the series that way. But I believe Jake threw this out to me earlier on the show today. I believe if the Vegas Golden Knights win Game 2, it's like an 81% chance.
That even feels low to me, to be honest.
I'm not going to lie. Right now, Vegas has about a 52% chance to win the series. Like, that's how pivotal Game 1 is. And look, what's the old saying? A 7-game series don't start till somebody wins a game on the road. It's exactly what happened last night. And it was a winnable game for the Avalanche. I think that's the frustrating part. All in all, is you just expected more from this team. And you know what? I'm thinking back to it in real time now. I'm in the locker room on Tuesday. And one of the guys, I want to say it was for 9 News, asked Marty Natchez a question along the lines of, okay, you've played this Vegas team before, but it's kind of a new feel, new energy around this Vegas team, just given what they've done since Tortorella took over as head coach. And Natchez is like, how so? Like, not like a jabby, like, taking a jab at the reporter type of way. But I'm almost wondering right now and I forget the exact verbatim answer, but it was something along the lines of, like, we know who they are, we know what they can do, right? We've got to be on our A game, like the cliche type of stuff. I don't want to put word in Marty's mouth. But, like, as I'm sitting there, and in hindsight, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm wondering if there was, like, an expectation about what the Vegas Golden Knights would be. And if they, you look at them now with the Tortorella-led squad and how maybe this has all changed, like, it just felt like the Avalanche, one, they didn't play their A game, but maybe they were caught a little bit off guard last night.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree. But again, this is nothing new. They've done it the past 3 games where you dilly-dally a little bit at the beginning of the game, you fall behind, and yeah, this is the best team in hockey in the world. But that doesn't mean you're always going to be able to come from behind to win. They're professionals on the other side. And again, you could dilly-dally a little bit against the Minnesota Wild, but I think we learned that you can't do that against the Knights, and I'm worried that even losing game 1 is the bigger version of dilly-dallying in the series, that you fall behind 1-0 in the series, and it's like, well, I hope we can catch back up and make this happen, but I'm just worried that maybe that was the game that you're going to end up needing when it comes to Game 7.
Yeah, it could be the case. Look, I wasn't overlooking the Vegas Golden Knights. I know there's that big sentiment from non-Avalanche fans that listen to the station and just hockey fans in general. I was not overlooking the Golden Knights. Let me say that again. A lot of respect for Vegas. I just thought this Avalanche team, with the way they've been playing, and you bring up a good point about a complete hockey game, and I think you're spot on as well, but the star power and the way that they've been able to play good hockey with their backs against the wall, I ultimately think, because I still think it's going to happen, that will win out. I expect the Avalanche to right their wrongs to a certain extent, and I think last night was a blunder. And I heard this stat when I was driving, I think it was to practice one day or to game 1 last. No, I forget where I was driving to. It doesn't matter. But I'm driving home, and I got a national sports talk station on because I like to get different opinions about the series. And I didn't realize this, that since coming into the league, the Vegas Golden Knights have the most playoff wins of any team in the NHL.
I'd have to double look at this, but I'm pretty sure they've been in the conference finals 50% of their existence.
I believe you're correct on that as well. I also kind of forgot how long Vegas has been in it. It's almost 10 years for them.
I was going to say, I think they were like 2018, 2019?
Yeah, maybe 17, 18.
17, okay. So yeah. I know the first year they went to the finals and lost to the Caps when Ovechkin got his ring.
Correct. Yeah, so look, it's not going to be an easy series. I never thought it was going to be an easy series. I know I picked Avs in 5, but I that doesn't mean like all of these games were going to be easy wins. I mean, it could have been games like Minnesota in Game 5. Would you say Minnesota was an easy series?
No, not necessarily.
9-6 was a sweat. Game 5 was a come from behind sweat. Game 4 was sweat. Like none of those wins felt easy to me. Maybe Game 2 to a certain extent. But I wouldn't even categorize necessarily the Kings series as easy. I thought games 3 and 4 were pretty smooth, all things considered, but games 1 and 2, you're kind of pacing back and forth, pulling your hair out. What's going on? Why can't they score goals? I don't think anything's been easy for this Avalanche team.
No, not necessarily, but I don't know. And I'm with you. I've respected the Vegas Golden Knights every step of the way. Once they fired the head coach, I remember I was in here asking Drew about hey, what does this do for their playoffs? They were on my radar instantly once they fired their coach and moved on to Torts. And I didn't think they were going to maybe get this far, but I thought they were going to make some noise at least in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But again, I think the Avalanche are the better team. They just need to go out and play a complete game of hockey. Do you envision that happening in Game 2? Do you think this was the wake-up call where it's like, hey, we can't afford to fall behind early in the game, especially by that amount of goals?
You know what's funny is I don't know if they need to play a complete game of hockey to win the game. I just think you need a relentless sense of urgency. I think it could be a good 2-period game. I think it could be an Avalanche goals in 1 period that wins them the game. I'm expecting a PO'd Nathan McKinnon. I'm expecting Marty Necas to step up. And at the end of the day, for this Avalanche team to execute. And look, do we want to let's have the Cale Makar conversation. Obviously, brutal news that came out yesterday, I want to say late in the morning, that he was not going to play in Game 1. And at that point, that's where you got...
Antennas went up a little bit?
Yeah, the antennas went up a little bit. I don't want to say uneasy. I think it's a little strong. But you know how vital Cale Makar is to this team. And I think clearly you missed him last night. But I said at the end of the drive, I'm not sure if Cale Makar is playing in that game, the Avalanche win. I think it was more than just being down Cale Makar at that point. And you know what? To be fair here, it's not like Vegas is fully healthy either. Mark Stone, who's essentially their equivalent of Gabriel Landeskog, not playing in that game last night for the Vegas Golden Knights. So if you want to look at that as they canceled each other out, look, I know Makar's a better player than Mark Stone. You're talking about a top 10, top 5 even player, best defenseman in the NHL. It's a brutal loss. But you've still got McKinnon. You've still got Necas. You've still got Nichushkin. You still got all these guys. You got Kadri. Nicholas Waugh, who I think has been really good for this Avalanche team in the playoffs. Like, you would think with the talent this team has and the moves that Chris McFarland has made that they should be able to figure out a way to get up and get the job done. And again, that's a credit to Vegas. The question is now, how do the Avalanche respond? And I think that's what we're going to be thinking about when we go to bed tonight. It's going to be what we're thinking about when we wake up tomorrow morning, and I'm sure tomorrow is going to be a pretty anxious day for a lot of us out there in Avs faithful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that tomorrow is a must-win for this Avalanche team. Maybe not literally, but I think if you have hopes of going on to win the Stanley Cup, you can't afford to fall behind 0-2 and expect everything to go swimmingly from this point on. So I expect to see a high level of urgency from this Avalanche team led by Nathan McKinnon, led by Gabe Landeskog. I feel like both of those guys have the pulse of this locker room and have led these guys to a fantastic 2025-2026 season here. But again, it's the playoffs. It can all come crashing down pretty quick. The Vegas Golden Knights are 25% of their 25% of the way there of winning this series.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about they get tomorrow's game as well, talking about 50% of the way there of winning this series. So it happens quick, and the Avalanche need to come out with a better sense of urgency. And I don't really blame Scott Wedgwood for what happened, but you got to find a way for Wedgwood and Hart to have similar games. I think if those two are looked at similarly at the end of a game, that means the Colorado Avalanche probably won the game because their offense is going to be better than Vegas's most nights.
Yeah, look, we got a text from JD here who always loves to chime in. Guys, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's supposed to be hard. No one's saying it's not supposed to be hard. And we understand the curse to a certain extent that is the President's Cup, the President's Trophy winner. Been a long time since the team that won the President's Trophy's gone on to win the Stanley Cup. But I think it's deflating. I don't think it's sound the alarms. I don't think it's the sky is falling. That will be the case if they lose game 2. Rightfully so. I'm not really that concerned, though. I think you're a little bit more concerned than I am necessarily, Dante. If I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most concerned, I'm at a 3.
Oh, I'm above that. I'm probably 5.
Okay. Yeah, it's a 7-game series for a reason, right? And I was on my morning walk today.
To be honest, real quick, before we keep on that, to be honest, if they win game 2, the Avalanche, I'm probably still at a 3.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on edge with this Vegas team. They find ways to win.
So it's more about Vegas.
I just respect Vegas. I think maybe more than most. Maybe more than I should. Maybe I don't know. I can't say that I watched all of Vegas's regular season this year, but I do know they finished 7-0-3 once they replaced coaches. That they've won 2 series. And guess what? JD text, it's not supposed to be easy. Yeah, Vegas has still found a way to get here. These two teams are at the exact same moment. It's not the Colorado Avalanche's birthright to go on to win just because they have 20 more wins in the regular season than their opponent. Nobody cares about that. It's about who's hot at the right time, and I just feel like Colorado has not been playing good hockey for a week or so.
And there's a reason why I love the text line, because it truly is a duality of a fan base. You get half of the fan base that is the sky is falling. What's going on with this team? I mean, let me just read you 2 texts here. 2354. As soon as I heard the Golden Knights won their series, I immediately got a sense of this series being a 50-50 toss-up. The Knights feel like they have the Avalanche's number. That's one text. The second text that comes in right now, 0978. They've lost 2 games, ... So you've got half of the fan base that is a little antsy. I haven't heard, I know we got a couple of comments on our Instagram yesterday that that was a good run. I'm sure that was a bit sarcastic, right? But you have half the fan base that is pretty, okay, I'm a little nervous. What's going to go on? Is this going to happen to us again? And there's the other half of the fan base, as I always like to say with the Broncos, the sun is always shining in Broncos country, right? Never a dull moment. Steady for the win. Steady for the city. How'd that work out? But you have the other half of the fan base I think is going to be all right. And with most things in life, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Am I concerned about the Avalanche? Maybe a little bit. But am I ripping my hair out and losing sleep because they lost game 1? I'm not. I think the Avalanche are going to be fine. I think I don't want to say that I don't respect Vegas as much as you, because that's not true. But you maybe think Vegas is a little bit more competitive in this series than I do. I just think the Avalanche's skill will eventually win out. I think they'll break Vegas at some point.
Yeah, and I don't debate that that's not what's going to happen, but who knows? I mean, it's the NHL playoffs. The best team doesn't always win. It's not basketball, where if you have the best player on the court, you're probably going to win most series. It's not football, where if you have the best quarterback, you're probably going to go out and win a game there. So hockey, more than any other sport, it takes weird bounces, and the winner, I mean, we've seen 8 seeds go out and win the Stanley Cup. So it's one of those where Any team can win any given series. Those guys are playing hard for each other. I imagine their confidence is even higher now than it was 2 days ago before the series started, where it's like, oh, wow, we went out and threw the first punch and beat these guys. And you listen to their head coach afterward, or their interim head coach Torts after the game. He was even saying, hey, we're going to have to play even better going forward. So I think that's the right mindset if you're the Vegas Knights, looking at it of like, hey, we got that one, but this is not going to be easy for us going forward. So I definitely think the Avalanche need to kick it into gear, and I think they have that gear. I'm not saying that they don't. I think McKinnon can. I think everybody could play better than what we saw in Game 1 there. I just hope that they go out and do it, because there's no guarantee that they are going to go out and play better.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You're right. There is no guarantee that they're going to go out there and play better, but you expect that.
You expect
it. This is a fan base, myself included, that has been pumped up on the Avalanche all season long. Best team in the NHL. McKinnon this, McKinnon that, Makar this, Makar that. Natchez won the trade over Mikko. Oh, we've got a goaltender now in Scott Wedgwood. And Mackenzie Blackwood ain't no slouch either. Jared Bednar, right? Like, all of the juice that has gotten us to this point. You can't hop off the bandwagon. You can't just start. They've lost 2 games, as the texter said. They're allowed to lose a game. They were never going 16-0. Never going to happen. They lost 4 games on their road to their previous Stanley Cup in 2022. Remember that series against St. Louis? Right? Like, there's going to be some adversity. There's going to be some tough moments. And I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to figure out a way to get their head above water. But for us, the fan base, the radio hosts, the people that are emotionally involved in a different way than the players and the coaches in the front office, it's a bit uneasy, and that's okay. But that's why it's a 7-game series. And I'll go back. I was listening to Mark and them this morning on my morning walk, and they had, spinning into the football conversation, per usual. Love that. Talking about how, in football, you can't have a bad game. Playoffs are one and done, which they're right about. The Avalanche had a bad game, but it's a race to 4, best of 7. Just because you had one subpar, disappointing game does not mean your season's over. And I don't think anyone's saying their season's over. But there's just you're staring adversity in the face, and the true pressure is knowing that if you don't win Game 2, then all of those conversations can start to be had. Of like, oh, all right, we're down 2-0 now, and we lost both games at home. We got to go, sweep in Vegas, at least split, have a chance. Like, that's when the pressure's on right now, but that's when you get really thrown into the pressure cooker, and it's turned up a notch.
Yeah,
So,
I wouldn't have minded having a stress-free run to the Stanley Cup, and I think at this point it's not going to be that. I think at this point the stress is already there when it comes to you're at the disadvantage. You lost home ice advantage. So I hope they go out and play good hockey, but again, I haven't seen them play a complete game of hockey since Game 2 of last series. That's a while ago at this point. I hope it's still in there, and you mentioned it, but the absence of Makar, I think that definitely doesn't help them in terms of going out and play 60 minutes of great hockey.
Well, it's like you read my mind. Let's hit a quick break. When we come back, the status of Cale Makar, how vital is that for the Avalanche, not only to win Game 2, but win this series? Back after this.
It's the ultimate showdown for a great cause.
Setting up the ultimate gold medal showdown.
On June 11th, Brandon Stokely goes head-to-head with Zach By in 100 Holes for Kids. 100 holes of golf. It's a one-day event all to raise money for Recruiting Classroom, whose mission it is to help kids play sports. Who will raise the most? That's where you come in. Pick your player, make your donation, and help kids win. To support Brandon Stokely, head to StokelyCares.com. To support Zach By, head to ZachCares.com.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Denver at 720-637-9567. 720-637-9567. That's 720-637-9567. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationdenver.com.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Mueller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Stoke here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Are you in the market for a new air conditioner? Well, hold on. You need to think about a heat pump. My team at ROX are Colorado's heat pump experts and rebate specialists. Get up to $12,000 in energy rebates and credits. These savings are incredible, but they're only available for a limited time. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Dan Jacobs with the tale of two cousins. They were both in the same accident. One cousin said she didn't need a lawyer. And when the insurance company offered her $3,000 and said they would pay all of her medical bills, that cousin was very upset because she cashed that check. And when the medical bills kept coming in, the insurance company was long gone. The other cousin called 303 Law 4040. She was offered $30,000. And when we said no way, the judge used scare tactics trying to get her to accept the lowball offer. That's where a lot of lawyers will try and get their clients to cave in, but not us. We said that's fine. We'll tell her story to a jury. Before we could even get up and walk out of the room, that case settled for $1.1 million. That cousin was very happy. The insurance companies work for their shareholders. At 303 Law 4040, we work for you. You don't have to feel guilty about asking for what's fair. We hope you never need us, but accidents do happen, so go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
For many of us, it's happened before. Your hair is thinning, crowns disappearing. Maybe the hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. The solution that worked for me, it's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if you want your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Paul's, it's not maybe your hair will regrow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Save $2 when you buy 2 cans of Superior Products Coverall tire dressing. Plus, get 4 times O-Rewards points now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Done right kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Our 8% scheduling incentive and bank financing to ask about make a great time to call. 800-362-8370 or drhi.com.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
All right, it is Denver Sports Tonight right here on The Fan. Danilo Piro, Dante Gomez. Let's get right back on into it. Cale Makar, the conundrum surrounding Mr. Makar. Not having him out there definitely hurt last night. Will they win game 1? If he plays, I guess we'll never know. I don't necessarily think so. I think it was larger than a Cale Makar issue. Will Peterson did bring up a good point to me last night. We're sitting next to each other at the Avs game, and it felt like some of the shooting lanes, the guys like Taves, Nelson, among some other guys that had the puck with some scoring opportunities, not as congested as maybe it would have been, had Cale Makar been playing. So obviously, I mean, if you're Vegas, you probably take a different approach of how you want to defend an Avalanche player not named McKinnon or Natchez, especially with Cale Makar not out there. So that's something to note. But look, and I heard Zach talking about it, I want to say today. I mean, can the Avalanche win this series? Well, let's back up. Cale Makar is going to return this series. I'd be shocked if he isn't. I can't guarantee that, but yeah, he was at optional skate this morning. Now a bit more urgency in Game 2, right? I'm not trying to say they're going to rush Cale back, but there's definitely some urgency to get Cale back in the lineup. You gave him a week off. Like, what's interesting to me is the fact that he had a week off, and that wasn't enough for him to get right for playing shape. Like, that's the one thing that's a little concerning to me. Because it's like, okay, like you win against Minnesota in Game 5. Everyone's hurt at this point. Like, no one's 100% healthy necessarily. But you think, okay, you give Cale a week off, you get him ready to go for the series. Like, the fact that he wasn't in the lineup for Game 1, I think is a little bit of a red flag. My expectation, and this is just my pure speculation, I don't have any reporting on this, but I would expect Cale Makar to be in the lineup tomorrow. And I think if Cale's not in the lineup tomorrow, that's when the concern level gets taken up a notch. But can the Avalanche win this series without Cale Makar, or a subpar version of Cale, a 75% version of Cale Makar? And look, we know how important McKinnon is. We know how important Natchez is, but it really feels like you need Cale Makar if you're going to get past this pesky Knights team.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think they need him to win this series. They just need to go out and play better hockey, in my opinion. I don't expect to see Cale Makar until maybe Game 3.
Really?
I don't think. My thing is, if he wasn't able to play on Wednesday after a week off, yeah, that extra 2 days is going to be the difference of him going out there and playing. I mean, this is the Stanley Cup playoffs. These guys are born to go out there and play and dying to go out there and play. So I just think that if it wasn't that close in Game 1 where he got ruled out that morning, it's not like he got ruled out 30 minutes before the game went on. He got ruled out that morning. So what was that, like 12 hours in advance? So it wasn't that close. I just don't see a scenario where it wasn't that close on Wednesday, but he's going to be ready to go on Friday. And even if he does get out there on Friday, I do not expect to see a top 5 player in the world version of Cale Makar, which is what we've grown accustomed to and what he brings to this team. So I think that they might have to get this done mostly without Cale Makar.
Yeah, and how about this quote from Sam Malinsky? This came out on the 19th, so a couple of days ago. Obviously, this is leading up to Game 1. This is from Sportsnet. Quote, asked what he'd say to fans worried about missing Makar for Game 1, fellow defenseman Sam Malinsky responded, quote, I don't know what to tell them. Obviously, it would be great to have him out here. You can't replace him. We're going to miss him out there. Yeah, hopefully we can still get it done without him. End quote. No reference outside of the reporter, but like nothing from Malinsky about isolating this to Game 1. And I don't want to put the tinfoil hat on, but it will be very interesting if he doesn't play Game 2. Like, just how hurt is Cale Makar? And there's the 2 known injuries, it appears, that we know about, the shoulder. But the more concerning injury is the hip. Like, you could probably play through, to a certain extent, a bum shoulder, but a hip, like, that's how you move. That's how you skate. That's how you thrust.
And that's what I was going to say. Those are both probably massive those are both massive parts of the body when you're playing sports. You can't really do anything in your upper body without your shoulder, and then you can't really do anything in your lower body without your hips. So it is unfortunate that that's both the areas of injury for him. And I had some little birdies saying after Game 5 of that series that he was not moving well in that locker room. And that was off the record, but I'm going to put it on the record because I wasn't at the building. I was at home watching it from my couch, so I didn't see it with my own eyes, but from the mind of whoever. So that just doesn't make me think that he's again, those are 2 of the most critical areas of your body that you can have when it comes to injuries. So I do not expect to see I don't even expect to see an 80% version of Cale Makar going forward in this series. I do think a 75% version of him still helps this team look better than what we saw in Game 1, but I don't think that he's some magical savior if he comes back into this series. Everybody else is still going to have to play better than what we saw.
Quick cut from Jared Bednar missing Cale Makar last night.
He's an important player, right? And he plays a lot. And some of the areas that we struggled with tonight, those are his strengths, right? So, yeah, I mean, it affects. He's out there a lot with the McKinnon line. There's definitely, a trickle-down effect to that.
Is Cale Makar to the Avalanche what Aaron Gordon is to the Nuggets? Is it that severe?
I'm sorry, can you say that again? I was reading the text line.
Is Cale Makar to the Avalanche what Aaron Gordon is to the Nuggets?
Ooh. I actually think it might even take it up a notch even better because he is one of the two best players on the ice for the Avalanche, and he's also just the back end of this team in a similar way that Aaron Gordon is the back end of this team. So, yeah, I would take it even up a notch from Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets.
It's interesting. Look, obviously, and I feel like the Avalanche can definitely win this series without Cale Makar. And again, my expectation is you will see him at some point in this series. The question is when. Is it Game 2? Is it Game 4? Is it Game 7? Like, we don't really know at this point with Cale Makar. And we know they're always going to play it close to the vest when it comes to the hockey and the injuries and all that kind of stuff as well. But I think you're also right to a certain extent where, like, this team just needs to play better. Again, I've said it multiple times now. I'm not sure the Avalanche win that game last night, even if Cale is playing. I think it was more than just Cale Makar. And again, Mark Stone did not play for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, I don't want to hear injury as a reason
It's
why
not a reason.
the Colorado Avalanche. I'm not saying you are saying that, but I've definitely been hearing that around town. I'm done with that excuse. Every team is facing something. You can't be like, oh, yeah, we're only missing our second best player. No, it doesn't matter. Go out there and win. I mean, you see it in the NBA, you see it in the NHL. Every team is missing guys. Every team is playing with guys banged up. You got to find a way to get it done if you are the team that we all think you are.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. So, look, we'll monitor the situation. Morning skate tomorrow. Hopefully we get an update about Cale Makar. I'm a little bit more optimistic maybe than Dante is. We've seen some video of Cale out there. Seems to be skating fine, right? And a bit of urgency. We'll see if they tap into that resource tomorrow and try to get him back on the ice. I think it'd make a big difference. But look, I'm going to pick the Avalanche to win the game no matter what tomorrow. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like bearing a McKinnon, something crazy, right? Like I like the Avalanche to bounce back. I like the Avalanche to respond. I think Wedgwood will have a good game, and I just think the Avalanche are going to get some of these shots through the back of the net here tomorrow. I think Mr. Hart can only do so much against this onslaught and attack that is the Colorado Avalanche. So I will say Avs win tomorrow. I could see it being a 4-1, 3-1, 4-2 type of game. What say you, Dante? Are they going to Vegas down 2-0, or are they tying it up at 1-1?
I think they're going to win. I got them winning 5-2.
Okay, so you got a
I think they're going to run away with it. I mean, empty net at the end there, but yeah, I think it'll be 4-2 going down the stretch. Tomorrow, more of a must-win or a can't lose?
Must win or can't lose? I think it's more of a can't lose.
I'd agree with that.
I think you're basically asking the same question, right? But like how you phrase it's a bit different at times. Like when you think about must win, can't lose, like because it's technically not a must win. Like you're going to be able to live to play another day in this series because it's a best of 7. But like it just feels like a game that the Avalanche cannot afford to lose. And look, Nathan McKinnon himself said it. This series is going to go 6 or 7 games. This should not be surprising. Did anyone on this station, did anyone in the fan base have the Avalanche sweeping the Vegas Golden Knights? I know I didn't. I had them in a gentleman's sweep. That looks like it's out the window. But this is expected to be a long, enduring series. And again, I think the shock and awe factor is the fact that it's game 1. I think a lot of Avs fans would love them to go up 2-0 at home and, okay, well, Vegas has to bounce back in game 3 because they're down 2-0, and then you win game 3, right? Like, it's not going to be like this easy, like, oh, they're going to win games 3 and 5, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's not supposed to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And the Avalanche now have their backs against the wall, and ultimately we'll see how they respond in game 2. Wow. Montreal Canadiens, 4-1.
4? Okay, last I saw was 3-1.
That's what I'm seeing on the screen in front of me. 4-1 with 8 minutes to play in the first period.
I do have a little not future, but I took them on the series line, plus 225. So I would love a game 1 victory in that one.
Montreal. So, Carolina with 11 days off, doing them well for sure. Montreal up 4-1. That is something to keep your eye on, folks.
And real quick before we move on, I thought great text here from the 6691. They have looked the same exact way in the previous series with Cale in the lineup. And I think that's what we're getting to, is that Cale's not going to be some savior in this series. Everybody needs to pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and again, going back to the point that I made in the first segment, it's not about one player. I think Phil asked me that at the end of the drive. It's not like one player. It's a collective effort to get the wagon back on the tracks, on the path, right? Like you need to see this Avalanche team clean some stuff up, look internally, and away we go. So we'll see. Dante and I both got the Avalanche winning tomorrow night. I'll be down there covering the game for us at Denver Sports. Make sure to follow us on social media. we'll have some fun with that. Okay, let's hit a quick break. When we come back, a little bow on the show. I've got some intrusive thoughts about the Denver Nuggets after watching the first 2 games of the Western Conference Finals. That's next.
You asked for it, you got it. Backed by popular demand, it's the Drives Brouhaha.
Big social brouhaha.
This spring, Zach and Phil are back on the road, bringing their party to you. First stop, the Golden Triangle in Denver. May 22nd from 2 to 6 at Schoolyard Beer Garden.
There was quite a brouhaha.
Come find out what the commotion's all about. Head to DenverSports.com/drive for more details.
Guaranteed to bring the brouhaha.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
The NBA playoffs are underway, and now you can trade every game on Kalshi. You can also trade on who wins each series, the conference finals, and the championship. San Antonio is currently trading at 19% to win it all, meaning a $100 trade pays out over $500 if they take the title. On Kalshi, you're trading against other people in a live market. No house, no odds makers. And as odds move, you can buy in or out anytime throughout the postseason. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code PASS to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shaft.
Hello, I'm Ozempic. And I'm other GLP-1s, kind of like him. Hey, are you shaking a maraca?
No, I'm shaking the pill version of Ozempic, which no one should ever do except in ads like this.
A nice disclaimer.
Hey, thanks. Ask your doctor about which FDA-approved uses of the Ozempic pen or pill may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide tablets, 9 milligrams, and Ozempic semaglutide injection, 2 milligrams.
There's a pill version of Ozempic.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a data analyst.
Hey, what model did you use for these quarterly projections?
Astrology. If Mercury's in retrograde, sales tank. If Venus is rising, we crush Q4.
You built our revenue forecast off horoscopes?
Yeah, the Zodiac never lies.
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed-sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Between groceries, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Call 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Want real Broncos talk? Cecil Lammy and Andrew Mason bring the heat on Orange and Blue Today. The most passionate intelligence and in-depth Broncos coverage in the game. Weekdays at 5 p.m. on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Hit subscribe at Denver Sports 104.3 and never miss another take. Orange and Blue Today, powered by Ramos Law, official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
All right, Denver Sports Tonight, Danilo Piro, Dante Gomez. Final segment of the big show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, as always. Great Avalanche conversation. Again, I'll be down at Ball Arena tomorrow for Game 2. So make sure to stay tuned at DenverSports.com, as well as the corresponding social channels, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all that good stuff. We'll keep you updated on those platforms as well. Just a quick intrusive thought real quick about the NBA. And this really stems from Game 1 of the Western Conference Final between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. Nuggets might be cooked, bro. Like they straight up might be cooked. And I understand they played San Antonio very competitively, won a couple of games in the regular season last year. Wemby, without Wemby, all that kind of stuff as well. But I'm watching these two teams play, and I understand that San Antonio, to be fair, has also had Oklahoma City's number to a certain extent this year. But I'm just watching these two teams play. It's less about how they match up. It's more so about it is a young man's game. And the Denver Nuggets are an old man's team. I mean, the depth, the shooting, the defense, the switching, like all this kind of stuff was on full display in these first two games. I know there's a lot of turnovers from San Antonio last night in Game 2, but the Nuggets truly find themselves in the definition of basketball purgatory, because you could either double down on this roster, go into the luxury tax, pay the repeater tax, which I'm not sure ownership's going to do, and there's no guarantee that you're even going to be much better for it. Or you take a step back. You trade a guy like an Aaron Gordon. You trade a Jamal Murray. And you get assets back to use that keyword or retain that keyword of flexibility so you can go ahead and build for another day. And you could make a legitimate argument both ways, and I'm not sure either way is better than the other. There is no definitively clear path for the Denver Nuggets to take moving forward. And that was just an intrusive thought, a takeaway that I had watching those first two games of the Western Conference Final. Is like, the Denver Nuggets, I think right now, folks, bearing a big move this offseason, which I don't foresee coming, at least in a positive way. It might be shedding salary and trading away a core player, not getting one back. I mean, they're probably a tier below the San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I did not feel that way entering into last season. I know that the injuries played a massive role and all that kind of stuff. Minnesota was embarrassing. There's a lot that went wrong with the Nuggets this season, but maybe this is the wake-up call that I needed. I just don't think Denver's in that same tier of team as Oklahoma City and San Antonio, Dante.
I'm not fully where you're at. I still think there's some life in this Nuggets team. But I mean, we are seeing it in the Western Conference Finals of how the NBA is now about being younger, being longer on defense, being more athletic than we've ever seen. There's not really room for a 6'2" guard in the NBA anymore, unless you're absolutely elite offensively and can make shots, or just a bulldog, I can't think of one, like a Davion Mitchell or Drew Holiday. And I just think that that's what we're seeing. That's what the NBA is shifting to. But I think that the youth and the athleticism is a little bit easier to find if you're an NBA team than trying to go out and find the engine of your offense. The Denver Nuggets have the engine of the offense, Nikola Jokic. I think that they can go out and find some youth. And I made the point the other day about the NBA draft that I think we kind of lost the plot with the draft. Everyone was saying, oh, the NBA draft's not important anymore. But how is it important? Every other sports league. But in the NBA, it just doesn't matter. So I just didn't quite understand that. And I think that the Nuggets have punted on developing their young players for the most part for the last handful of years here. But if you go out and draft, and this is the guy that I'm banging the table for the Nuggets, Koa Pete, power forward out of University of Arizona. To me, he's the second coming of Aaron Gordon. He's big, physical, athletic. I think his ceiling is incredibly high. He's only 18 years old. He has athletic pedigree in his family. His brother, Andrews Pete, was an offensive lineman. You might know him from the New Orleans Saints. But yeah, he welcomes physicality, and I think he would be an absolute home run for this Nuggets team. And he's mocked to go in the late 20s. So you can find impact players in the NBA draft in the later rounds. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a top 10 pick. We're seeing it throughout the NBA this playoffs. So I don't think they're completely dead, but they just need to go out and nail some of those draft picks. And maybe it does mean trading Jamal Murray and getting younger at that position. But I'm not totally out on them. I did have this envision. I don't know if we have enough time for this, but walk with me real quick on this one. Ready for this? The Denver Nuggets 2026 starting rotation. Kyrie Irving, Derek White, Peyton Watson, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. And then off the bench, you got maybe a Cam Johnson if you didn't trade him in there. You got Koa Pete coming off the bench, Deron Holmes. Hopefully he's ready to make an impact. I think already that team has the same amount of ability to get buckets, but can also defend at a way higher level than what we saw.
I like it. Look, it's a massive offseason for the Denver Nuggets. They're going to have to improve without a doubt. Real quick before we get out of here, just a quick moment. We lost one of the greats in the CU Buffs community, my guy, Adam Munstertiger. It was announced that he passed away yesterday. Adam was a good friend of mine, someone that helped me out tremendously in my career, coming on different shows and podcasts and talking Buffs with me and some of my buddies at my previous work stops. I know he's done some stuff here at the station as well. Just wanted to point that out, sending my well wishes to his family, the entire CU Buffs community. Adam Munstertiger was nothing but a professional, one of the good guys in this business, and he will be deeply, deeply missed. So rest in peace to my friend Adam Munstertiger. CU Buffs coverage will never be the same. For Dante Gomez, I'm Manny Lapiro, DST on the Fan.